Hello again, I am Blunty. Don't normally do two videos in one day, making an exception right now as I'm cooking dinner. If you hear a faint ticking in the background, that's my oven timer going. But I wanted to talk about this. I had to talk about this because it is so stupid and also so predictable, but also kind of the opposite of what you might predict. It's weird. So over the last 18 hours or so, as the timeline rolled across the globe and stuff, the Xbox Series X and Xbox Series S have gone up for pre-order. Pretty much in every major market. It's been a complete disaster with sites imploding on themselves, and I had to try like 3 or 4 times before I finally got an order through, and I was very frustrated. It took me all day long, and there was just don't even get me started. Come to the live stream on the weekend. We'll talk all about it. I'll talk your ear off about just the immense frustration and the ineptitude present and how online retailers just can't get this right at this point. I mean, look at me. I've got a grey beard. I've been around for every console generational launch. My first gaming console was the Atari 2600, one of the first generations, so I've seen them all come through. And I've certainly seen all the online launches and the disasters that have been. This has been the worst one, by far. The most catastrophically badly managed one so far. And I'm talking Xbox and PlayStation. They're both equally catastrophically badly handled. But the interesting thing about the pre-orders of the Xbox Series X in particular is it also saw a simultaneous massive spike in the sales of the Xbox One X. In fact, on Amazon, the sales spiked more than 747%, skyrocketing it back into the best-selling lists. Now, those of you old enough to at least know how to spell the word puberty will remember the debacle, the idiotic branding of the Nintendo Wii U versus the Nintendo Wii, two completely separate generations of console but named almost identically. That caused a disastrous result as far as the sales for the Wii U went, because people were assuming the Wii U was some sort of add-on for the Wii, that they thought the little tablet thing with a screen on it was some sort of accessory for the Wii. And then they saw the price of it and they went, I'm not paying that much for an accessory for the Wii. The Wii is already old. I'm going to wait for whatever the new Xbox or whatever is. And the sales just went nowhere. We're seeing pretty clearly now that there were plenty of games worth playing on the Wii U because they're all being ported to the Switch now and they're breaking their own sales records and people are loving the hell out of them and things like that. But the hardware itself wouldn't sell because it was so confusingly named. Well, the opposite thing seems to be happening with Xbox. They're so confusingly named Xbox One X, Xbox Series X. People are confusing themselves and buying the wrong one. Probably boomers buying it for their grandkids because boomers are idiots. In case you're wondering, I'm Gen X. And as a Gen X, with boomer parents, I remember when they were confused about the simplest of generations of consoles. Everything that could play a video game was a Nintendo, regardless of whether it was made by Sega or Sony or whatever. Are you going to play Nintendo? Was their word for video game. So when you sent mum, dad, nan, pop into, their favorite department store, Fitzgerald's or something, any old Tasmanians living around here? Yeah? To get you, a copy of your new favorite multi-platform game, you had to be real specific. Otherwise, they would ask for a Nintendo copy of Crash Bandicoot. And the person across the counter would just roll their eyes, sigh deeply, and give them the Sony game that they were actually after. But we now live in the era of online sales, where there is no exasperated sales staff to roll their eyes, sigh deeply, and ask the customer, are you sure that's what you want? Because there's this, and they're two completely different things. I know they seem similar, and a video game's a video game, right? But there's no one to stop them doing that when they're shopping on Amazon. So if you have got a boomer buying you an Xbox Series X, why don't you double check with them? Ask to see the purchase order or something, just to make sure that they've got what you want them to get, because it seems like chances are probably better than even. They've accidentally bought the wrong thing because it was cheaper or something. So, while Nintendo's F up with their naming scheme, their arrogance, and their extremely bad marketing cost them a generation, basically. The Wii U was such a colossal failure. The other thing is happening with Xbox. Their, idiotic naming scheme is helping them clear out some old inventory. Let's see how that works out for them when people find out what they actually bought. Hope you bought somewhere with a good returns policy. Anyway, I just wanted to have a laugh about that. What do you guys? I mean, come on, just thank you to the patrons up above there. Hopefully, none of you have boomer parents buying you an Xbox One X instead of a Series X. Microsoft, What do you got to say for yourself? We told you this would happen. We did. Maybe it's what you wanted to happen. Conspiracy.